Well, we made it. We made it through a long week 12. Emphasis on week. That's pretty much how long it took. By the way, I just wanted to show this baby off. It's my Packers mask. It's always important to mask up. For sports fans, you can mask up, follow protocols, and support your teams. Go Pack, go. But about week 12, it was very, very chaotic to say the least. I mean, it all started harmlessly enough with the Thanksgiving game, but it was supposed to be 3 games. Unfortunately, the Ravens had a bit of an outbreak, and their game was moved so many times, moved to Sunday, then moved to Tuesday, then pushed back to Wednesday because the Ravens actually wanted a chance to practice. And the game was finally played, and that's what ended Week 12. And it was a crazy mess of a game, but the Steelers got their win, and they're still undefeated, but not being respected. As for Thanksgiving, I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. The games, both of those games that took place were blowouts. Detroit embarrassed themselves so badly that they finally saw the light and said bye bye to Patricia. So long, bye Patricia, and their GM too. And Dallas, oh boy, you know, on Thanksgiving I'm supposed to have turkey for dinner, not watch it on the football field. I don't know what the hell that was. The Cowboys find new ways to embarrass themselves, and as a result, they're 3-8. But they're a game out of first place the in the NFC East. And speaking of the NFC East, da 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 da, start spreading the news. They're leading these. They've only won 4 games this year. New York, New York. This division is bad. It's really a waste. Somebody has to win the East. New York, New York. Oh man. Oh man. The Giants are in first place. Can you believe it? All they had to do was win 3 in a row, and that was it. First place at 4-7. And it's a first place tie, but they have the tiebreaker at the moment. Um, they have the tiebreaker because they swept Washington. And, oh man, they got to first. How'd it go? Washington actually got to first place when they beat Dallas, but the Giants surpassed them a few days later when they beat Cincy. And it was further locked in when Philly laid their latest egg at Monday Night Football against Seattle. Ugh, what a mess. So 4-7 leads that division. In other Week 12 action, the Chiefs won a good thriller against the Brady Bucks, and that's back-to-back losses for Brady, who keeps making mistakes despite that good defense he has. Um, the Rams, that's a fraudulent team. They are, and I do like the Rams, but they're frauds. They beat soft teams and then lose to soft teams. Look at their 7 wins this year. They swept the NFC East, big deal. They beat the Bears, again, big deal. They made Russ look bad. Well, Russ made Russ look bad. That's not hard to do. He's the dumbest and worst quarterback in the league. And they beat a Bucks team with too many problems. They haven't beaten anybody of substance yet. And they lost at home to the Cook Niners. Now the Niners have some semblance of hope now. And even worse, that's a series sweep because San Francisco beat them before. Of course, I don't think they were as cooked back then. Ugh, the Rams, I don't know about them. This is exactly why when they were in first place for that brief bit, nobody treated them like a first place team. because they do stuff like this year. It's sad. I usually know when a team's being unfairly disrespected. The disrespect to the Rams is not unfair. It's pretty much just. They need to win the games, need to win and beat some teams of substance. They do. Otherwise, they're gonna end up missing the playoffs again. And if they do make it, nobody's gonna pick them. But yeah. But now a team that should be taken seriously, Cleveland. Yes, they beat the Jaguars. Yes, the Jaguars haven't won since September. And yes, they're 1-10 and now officially out of the playoffs. But that's a game they needed to win, and they won it. And now they're 8-3. 8-3. Can you believe it? Cleveland is 8-3. They're one win away from a winning record, first win record in God knows how long. And that playoff drought, that's gonna go bye-bye. Good for Cleveland. Tennessee took care of business against Indy, so they got first place back. It's crazy, but I have to talk about go Pack go. I have to talk about the Green and Gold Brigade, and it was Christmas. Like I said in the last video, it was Christmas for the Packers defense. We got a bunch of takeaways. The defense even scored a touchdown because the Bears were the Bears. Yes, it's the Bears. Yes, their offense is dead, but it's been a long time since the Packers defense actually did multiple things in a game, so we'll take it. We'll take it. And the final score was 41-25. Though the points the Bears scored late were in garbage time. By that time it was 41-10. The game was pretty much dead. So for once, the Packers defense could actually afford to actually chill and relax and take it easy. Because the game was in the bag. So that's a win we got. And speed of this, I have to mention this. Denver. Poor Broncos. You know, I think it was at Bob in Boulder, who follows me on Twitter. We follow each other on Twitter. He's a Broncos fan in Avalanche. I think it was him that said, you know, why don't the Broncos just start Gabriel Landeskog the quarterback? Honestly, they could have done better. I mean, the whole thing with the Broncos has had a lot of fans, not just Broncos fans either, but a lot of NFL fans saying the Broncos got jobbed. I mean, they literally had no quarterback, none, because of COVID. One of them tested positive, the other three like close contacts, so they literally had no quarterback. They had to start a backup receiver at quarterback, and it was a mess. This was a gift win for the Saints, and even though I'm a Packers fan, and we need to catch them for number one, I'm not really up in arms about it. I mean, it is what it is. It's just one of those things. But besides, I think it'll work itself out anyway. I just have to. That game should be a factor, but it was terrible. It was a terrible situation, and it's led to a lot of criticism of how this week has been handled with these COVID tests. They pushed back that Baltimore game 1,000 times until it was finally played. You know, it's crazy. And I have to mention this too. Jerry Jones actually had the nerve to say that the Cowboys quarterback situation was as bad or worse than Denver's. He actually said, well, we had to start Ben DiNucci, and that's pretty much the same as having to use a third, fourth string receiver at quarterback. I mean, look at him. We're in dire straits. Help us out. No. That's the most tone-deaf thing I've ever heard in sports. It really is. How could Jerry Jones say things like that? Oh, boy. So, Pittsburgh actually had a chance to clinch a playoff spot this week, but because the Dolphins won easily against the Jets, who are 0-11 now, that was not to be. So, no spots been clinched yet. However, in later weeks, the scenario is going to be announced in separate videos like last year. But according to NFL.com, 3 teams can lock in playoff spots. The first 3 playoff spots could be clinched this week. Let me start in order of standings with the Steelers. Steelers, of course, are undefeated, and they can get in the playoffs with a win. Simple. That's it. All you have to do is just win, baby. And they face Washington another game that was affected by this. It was supposed to be Sunday. Now it's being moved to Monday, and for some reason, not all the countries getting that game. Very strange, but yeah. So all Pittsburgh has to do to clinch a playoff spot is win or tie. That's it. If not, they could actually get in before they take the field Monday, because if either Vegas, Miami, or Indy fail to win, Pittsburgh's in. So it's one of those three. Pittsburgh could actually clinch the division already in the first weekend of December. Pittsburgh clinched the division. They had to win. Cleveland has to lose. Cleveland's playing Tennessee, so that could happen. They have to win. Cleveland has to lose, and Pittsburgh has to clinch strength of victory. So that requires a certain number of teams winning. Since it requires a certain number of Pittsburgh's opponents winning. It's a whole lot. I won't go through all that because it's an early scenario. Kansas City. Kansas City has like a jillion ways to get in, but Kansas City they're at home against Denver. That's a Sunday night game. All they have to do to clinch a playoff spot is win. I'm pretty sure that'll be done. There are 5 scenarios. There are 5 ways they can get in if Kansas City actually ends up tied, and the 7th scenario has Kansas City winning Kansas City getting the playoff spot even before they take the field. The 7th scenario is Vegas, Baltimore, and Indy all losing. If all 3 lose, Kansas City's in the playoffs before they even take the field. Kansas City can also win the division this week. If they win and Vegas loses or ties, they win the AFC West again. Or if Kansas City ties, Vegas has to lose. Vegas isn't going to lose because they're playing the Jets this week, and that's a game I'm getting here instead of the clash of the Titans, no pun intended, between Cleveland and Tennessee. The Saints are the only NFC team that can clinch a playoff spot this week. I'm pretty sure we'll get the chance next week. But the Saints need a win and some help. The Saints can get in with a win and a Bears loss or tie. If they tie, there's a couple ways they can do it. But if they tie, they would get in with a Bears loss, a Vikings loss, or if either the Niners or Cardinals fail to win. It's not that complicated. Now New Orleans is in Atlanta. That's not necessarily going to be an easy win. Matter of fact, I think Atlanta's going to win that game. Here's why. Number 1, it's a divisional game. Number 2, the Falcons are at home. And number 3, it's December. December is usually the month where the Falcons start winning games, even though they have no chance of making the playoffs, and that resulted in them finishing like 7-9 or 8-8, which is not good enough for the playoffs, but not bad enough for a good draft pick. They've been doing this each of the last 2 years. It's weird. So those are scenarios entering Week 13 and what's in store for us for Week 13. As I said, Browns and Titans, 8-3 versus 8-3. The Dolphins are at home against the Bengals. Dolphins will try to keep that winning momentum up. Colts in Houston. The Bears, who have lost 5 in a row, at home against the Lions. If the Bears lose that game, they should be thrown out of the league. As I said before, the Saints are in Atlanta. The first place 4-7 Giants are on the road against Seattle, but Daniel Jones is out. That's not a good thing. Rams and Cardinals, a battle of 2 teams who are kind of falling off a bit. The Patriots have faint playoff hosts. They're facing the Chargers. Packers are at home against the Eagles. Sunday night game is Chiefs and Broncos. And, of course, we have 2 Monday games. Like I said, the Steelers and Washington. That's the game that was moved. But like I said, most of the country's not going to get that for some weird reason. The 8-3 Bills are in I almost said Santa Clara. They're in Arizona to face the Niners because protocol, it's getting bad in Santa Clara. So the Niners' next 2 home games won't be played there. And it's Cowboys and Ravens, originally a Thursday game. It's been moved back because of the COVID outbreak with the Ravens. So that's what's in store for Week 13. I'll be back to review that one probably Tuesday night or next Wednesday. So with that, I say it's December. The playoff pushes on, and enjoy it responsibly.